You are. Right, well, welcome back to the channel.
It's not even me laughing at it, Dej. It's looking at younger. Well, it's technically younger you, innit?
Well, yeah, I guess.
Larger
Every
you.
photo, I mean, that's younger me as well, really.
More spherical you.
Yeah, spherical, good one.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to describe it. You look so round in that picture.
There's some photos where I do look a bit rounder, for sure. A lot rounder.
What you said you're going for? Lighter than me, aren't you?
Yeah, so, right, yeah, so basically, we're going on a pre-season tour to America.
Who's we?
Well, not you.
Should we talking French?
Yeah, not you, but me. And that would represent 12 months of me sorting my shit out and getting in decent shape.
Okay.
So I thought, well, let's just hit send, go see how far I can push it. Got 8 weeks before we go on tour. Let's just see how far I can go.
Why don't you just do it in like a natural way in terms of treating it like, oh, this is going to be the 1 year anniversary, so I'm going to do like a boxing style fight, make weight. That's what you're making it sound like.
Oh, right, no, I'm not doing that. No, but I wouldn't mind seeing if I can get into like the 180s before we go. Because that's like, you know, a nice little sort of target there, isn't it?
Yes. But anyway,
yeah.
Liam Delap, because you know what they get like when we start being derailed straight away.
Yeah, but do you know what? Let's derail it off the bat because what happened on Tuesday?
We already derailed it off the bat.
There was no internet in a building.
That's not derailing it. That's talking about why XG. If you're really confused why it's today and not the usual Tuesday, is because Steve didn't pay the internet bill. Isn't that the reason?
No.
Why
was it the entire building? Was the entire building?
Telecom. No, because not everyone is on the network that was given the issue.
All right. Well, no, it was not to do that. No, we're up to date on the bills.
To be fair. Yeah. But it doesn't matter anyway. We're here, and we're arguably here on a day where we actually have more news, more things to talk about. You obviously we'll speak about Hojlund again. We'll speak about Osimhen again. But the major news that is hit the airwaves, and I think a lot of the United fans, I don't know whether it's copium or whether a lot of them were very sceptical about Liam Delap anyway. But Laurie Whitwell, David Ornstein, don't get any more tier one than that, especially for Manchester United.
I don't think you do get any more tier one.
Unless it's the club itself.
I mean, Norwood has retired from his like tier 0.01 status.
Was a photographer?
Yeah.
Okay.
See...
Still good mates with Jay. Jay still chats to him every now and again.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, I think there was out one for his birthday recently. But I know that Ornstein's retired from whatever it was. See, he was the club photographer. I don't think he was getting the info from that. Because that's too obvious, isn't it? I think he was getting it from a different source. I don't know what that source is or was, but it was gospel. It was better than the club, almost. Like, because do you remember Aaron Ramsey? The club actually put out that United have agreed terms with Aaron Ramsey, and we hadn't. Remember that?
That's what's funny. I remember Bournemouth tweeted the other day, or Howson is Dean.
Ronnie's talking, by the way, in case you want to switch it up. There we go.
Yeah, Dean Howson has decided to sign for Real. He's going to join Real Madrid in the summer. Bournemouth tweeted on their actual Twitter account, verified golden tick, and then the comments were. Source? Question mark. Can you verify this source, please?
Yeah, it's me. I'm the source.
I'm the source. Now, but anyway, Liam Delap has said that he wants to join Chelsea more or less, and he doesn't want to, which means that he's stumped United. And you got Dej behind the camera, who's a Chelsea fan, pretending to be buzzing about that. I know he preferred Osimhen, and I think a lot of people are preferring Osimhen anyway. So I don't know. I personally like Delap. I thought it would have been a great signing.
200 grand a week.
Great market opportunity. Who?
No, he's not getting 200.
Is it 200k? I don't believe that. He's on like 30 or something at Ipswich. You won't get like, what is that? That's like 8 times, isn't it? 8 times. 800% increase on your wages.
What is going on at Chelsea?
No chance.
No, there is a chance. It's Chelsea. You never know.
But maybe because the contract will be like 20 years. So they can spread it out.
No, they can't do that no more. It's illegal. Oh, well, for PSR reasons. You can give them whatever length of contract.
There was Brian Casey said there was early reports. It's a deal until 2036 with a 3-year option. But I think he's having me on. He's having me on there, right? He is having me on with that. The Delap signs 87 year deal. But 200k a week seems to be what the reports are, which is mad.
Yeah, I think you can put him on whatever length of contract you want, but for PSR reasons, it's capped at 5. I think for you to share that across.
I doubt it'll be a 200k. If it is, then. But it does seem that because brings me on to a discussion I wanted to actually have with you, and I want you to get involved as well in the comments. I have this belief generally that we are going to struggle a little bit more in the transfer market when we're up against other teams in terms of signing players because we don't have Europe.
Yeah.
And United has a name and a legacy about it and a status and a size that we can normally carry ourselves anyway.
It's still not nothing. It's still not nothing. But we're still going to carry a bit of weight, but I think
that's going to, obviously, that's the sort of thing that dissipates over time if you're not challenging for things constantly.
I know we've won trophies. Going to be dissipating. Absolutely going to be dissipating.
And we don't like to admit it's a fan base, but we don't like to admit that the reason why we've signed a lot of those players in the past that are big hitters is because we're offering more money than most, don't we? 200k for Liam Delap.
That was Woodward's move, man. Woodward's move was just start peeling off the 20s like it's 3 a.m. He's in a teddy bar. Yeah, exactly. That's the move.
I can actually imagine that.
Woodward?
Yeah. Every pre-season tour, he was right in there, like, so wearing it. But are you asked, though, about not getting Liam Delap?
I am, because if the club had identified him, and this might be misplaced, but I thought our transfers were largely good last year. And I think if they've had a bit more time to identify what they need, the sort of right characters they want, and if they've identified Delap, then I was like, cool, I wouldn't mind seeing what he can do. Pivoting away from that means that they're going for second choice. That's not always a good thing. It might end up working right. You never know how it's all going to play out. But he was obviously a certain profile of player. Now, in a straight shootout, who's better, him or Osimhen? Not saying that we're getting Osimhen, but if it was him or Osimhen, it's Osimhen. But if they're looking at profile of players, they're looking at wage structures, that sort of thing, then there's a reason Delap was a number 1 on our list. It might have been because Osimhen don't want it. It might be because Gyökeres don't want it. He might be 5th on the list, but number 1 in those who was willing to come. And actually, he don't want to come.
Anyway, but
full steam ahead, Mateta?
It probably will be. Do you know what I mean? But when it comes to the whole Liam Delap scenario, there's a very lazy narrative flying about. I've seen it in the comments already. Just call him the British Hojlund. Very different player to Hojlund. He's a better.
Wilcox and his ball mate are still on City's payroll. Well, factually they're not. So that's a really.
He's better than Hojlund, man. But I thought £30 million for Liam Delap was a great market opportunity, and that's why so many clubs were interested. And I think that's why. What is it that you're pointing at now?
The super chat here from Sahaj Seti. Thank you for your super chat, but you're wrong. He says the lack of goals is a symptom of a lack of service / poor service rather than poor finishing. If should buy a midfielder that can retain possession and wing backs with better quality and crossing. We literally have the number 1 chance creator in the country playing for us.
It's a lot of the mental gymnastics that I've seen to defend Hojlund, and people are still doing it till this day. He's just not very clinical, and his movement isn't that great. Do you know what I mean? Is Hojlund probably a little bit better than he's shown at United? Probably, when he goes elsewhere. But it's quite clear that he's not good enough to start for us next season, or probably anytime soon. He's not getting any younger, and sometimes progression isn't linear. And I think United are in a position now where a top elite striker, or a reliable striker at least, will obviously improve us tenfold. But I do agree with him in the sense of I think United could massively upgrade in the midfield area. And I did tweet something 2 days ago where I think the most transformative signing that United will make in the next few years in terms of kind of giving us the biggest boost towards being good again won't be a striker. When United sign an elite world-class ceiling midfielder, I think that's when everything changes in the rebuild, rather than a striker or a defender.
Maybe.
It's always the engine room, man.
Yeah, the engine room's extremely important, but I think we said this in my office earlier, if we get Cunha over the line and you got Osimhen, let's just say Osimhen, even Mateta, to be honest, I'd take that, and an Mbeumo, and you sell Hojlund and you sell Garnacho and maybe some others, obviously to raise money for that. That forward line has instantly transformed. instantly transformed. It now starts to look like a competent Premier League forward line, whereas at the moment it does not. And even if you only got...
What do you mean? Garnacho's the next Cristiano?
Stop. Even if you just got Osimhen and Cunha, Ahmad is absolutely sound in that right inside forward kind of slot. That's a really competent Premier League level front line. Whereas this season, like all season I was saying, this is West Ham level at best. And actually it's worse than West Ham because Bowen beats all of our forwards.
Cuties.
What?
Cuties.
I mean, yeah, you can make an argument like comfortably. It's not even West Ham level.
They had Evan Ferguson rotting on the bench.
Yeah, he would have started all season for us. He's better than Hojlund. A lot better than Hojlund.
It's quite sad what's happened with him. He's been pretty much injured for like 90% of the
I wonder if he's like, if he's your wild card, get him cheap because he's out of favour.
Buy the dip is what buy the dip.
Yeah, buy the dip and bring him in as a second striker. Not as your first choice that plays every week. Bring him in and work on him. And when main guy is out or injured or needs a rest, throw him in and...
Is Brighton? No, Brighton are still not going to sell him on the cheap, I don't reckon.
Probably not.
Because they're all about their assets and they do maximise them in it when they do sell.
Maybe you get him on loan.
They've got Belabor, who's probably £100 million midfielder. Crazy.
Tariq Lamptey's leaving this summer.
On the free.
Would you go for him as an
Pedro?
option as a right wing-back slot?
I'd rather go for Kyle Walker-Peters. Free. Played wing-back in like multiple systems already.
Do you think we will see some of those sort of smart freebies?
I've been saying I think Kyle Walker-Peters would be a smart signing for United if they were clever. Because he's not going to be on very high wages whatsoever. He's a free agent. I think he's 28. And he's actually a decent player. Maybe he's not like starting level, but I think if you want to fill out depth in the wing-back areas, because I look at Mazraoui. Mazraoui is more or less a net negative when he plays wing-back for me. I think it doesn't suit him. I think he's better as a full-back, like in a back four, or as one of the right-side centre-half.
Yeah, I think he's been brilliant.
Even Delo's had his question marks being there. And then you've got...
It's got to be a wing.
On the left side, you've got Ahmad that plays there. People think he's better in a 10. You've got one left wing back in terms of Dorgu. Amas will probably go out on loan.
Yeah.
You've got Diego Leon, who won't be ready. So I think Kyle Walker-Peters on a free 1-2 year deal.
What you got to do is plug the gaps. You got to go, right, he's injured, now what? He's injured, now what? He's injured, now what? He's injured, now what? Because... I saw a comment earlier, which is even if you did get Osimhen, which looks like he's not on the cards anyway, you get Osimhen in and he gets injured. Now what? Is it Xerxes? Or is it, if you did get Mbeumo and Cunha, would one of those be able to rotate in for 2, 3, 4 weeks while he gets fit? If you've got the opportunity to do that. Because I think Mason Mount plays a lot in an attacking role next season. A lot. Whether that's first choice, I don't know, but I think he plays.
Mason Mount? I think, yeah, he does look like he likes him. But I've heard over the years, and I should go back to his academy days, that Mason Mount is a bit of a teacher's pet.
Must be. Because when he's fit,
proper
he
rubs,
for everybody.
Proper rubs bums with the manager and that, like sucks up to the manager. One of those types.
I don't know if he does that, but maybe, as you know, when you're in a team environment, there's intangible things that you get asked to do. Now, it might be blocking certain lanes, it might be pressing certain people, it might be leaving certain people. There's instructions that you're never going to hear about publicly. Maybe he does them perfectly. And then we never see him. That we don't get.
Consummate professional. Never any issues. McTominay innit? Pretty much every gaffer that's had McTominay's liked him, innit?
Yeah.
There has to be a reason for that.
I saw Demi Mitchell sitting exactly where you are, actually, on RH and Demand. By the way, what a podcast that is.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've released who they got. They had a. Do you see? Don't say this name for fuck's sake in case it's not out there yet. But you see they had on Monday.
Yeah, I walked in as they walked out.
All right, fine.
You already said the name though.
I've not said this name. No, I seen they had Demi Mitchell because they posted that clip.
Okay.
Unless they did 2 on Monday.
When I walked in on Monday, I walked past RH, Dimitri Mitchell and
right. Okay. Well,
Demane.
They've done another podcast on Monday.
Okay. No, I didn't see who that was.
Right. So yeah, but they're churning out banger after banger. That's a good podcast. If you've not seen it, go check that out.
Yeah, I told him to stick with it, man. That could turn into something serious.
Yeah, there's a reason I was bringing up Demi.
Did he say something about McTominay?
Yes, that was it. Yeah, and he brought up McTominay and he said, unbelievable pro. Just one of the hardest working dudes ever.
That runs like a 5K in like under 15 minutes.
It's 16 in it.
Yeah, something insane.
That's outrageous.
But I always thought, because we always rated him and we always didn't criticise him for basically he had some midfield qualities lacking.
But he couldn't pass it.
But every manager fucking loved him. Mourinho.
The only drama with McTominay is
Tag.
if you tried to play him in the 6, he couldn't pass it from me to you, seemingly. Like, he would never break a line with a pass. He'd never play it forward.
So how about this then? How do we go back to a world where if a player doesn't have a set of skills, you don't play him or platform him to the set of skills he doesn't have? Because that's why the success he's having under Ten Hag is when he just got played as a box-crashing second striker almost.
Bingo.
And then Conte's done it.
But he's never going to play ahead of Bruno Fernandes at Manchester United. I think Ten Hag wanted to keep him.
No, he did. So Ten Hag was wholeheartedly against Ugarte. Didn't want Ugarte at all. And wanted to keep McTominay instead. Because he knew selling McTominay was to basically, in theory, fund Ugarte. And he really liked McTominay and wanted to keep McTominay in the squad. So he didn't like that part of the deal.
Would McTominay have played up front this season with how bad Hojlund has been? I think he might have done, you know.
Nah, because I think there's a difference people need to know between starting up front and arriving up front.
I absolutely agree, but I'm asking, would he have started up front with how bad Hojlund has been?
No.
You don't think? I think he would have done. Because I think that professional angle of him, and it's not the same, and I hate that people always reference this, and I'm literally going to do the thing that I hate. He did play as a 9 a little bit in the 21s. He didn't play all the way through. He was a 6 and an 8 in the academy, but he did play a little bit, like a season up front in the 21s when it was still 21s. He has played that position. Not great, and certainly not prolific. But I think from a defensive point of view, from a target man point of view, you'd get so much more out of McTominay. I don't think the finishing level is comparable. But I think that the target man and the defensive work, you'd get more from, and I think you get an elevated team performance out of having McTominay there than what you'd have got out of Hojlund. Honestly, like, we saw Webby at the final. We went to Hotel Football for the final. We saw Webby there, and we was talking about the team. Webby said something about Hojlund, and I went, mate, I think he's the worst striker I've ever seen it. and
do you know what?
Webby goes.
Steve goes through Old Trafford, yeah, when United are playing, and because obviously when you're at the game, it's different from TV. You can just hone in on like people's movements and stuff off camera, and you spend just 45 minutes just watching him. Do you know what I said? I think there's this massive myth that flies about Hojlund is that he's hard working as well. He's not.
No, I don't think he is.
Have you noticed? Everyone goes on like he's some honest, half-working guy. He's just shit. But I actually think he's shit, but also doesn't work hard enough. But for some reason, I feel like people clock on to other players not working hard more than him. I quite often see him being like quite laboured in the press. He's not very good pressing. He's not very intelligent when he presses either. You know, like just showing one way and stuff.
He really isn't.
He really isn't.
I mean,
and also
the header he had in the final, that was lazy. He was in the wrong position, and that's why he was in the right position for the header.
And do you know how defenders get in front of him so quick, so easily when he's meant to hold it up? That's laziness. Sometimes he'll be like stood offside slightly, and then a ball is needed as an outlet, and the ball goes up, and defenders just go and get in front of him. That's a bit of effort and wear rate as well.
Did you see his unopposed hold-up fuck-up yesterday?
Yeah.
Where we've cleared it from a corner up to him. He's dropped to the edge of the centre circle to collect it. And this shows you the level of defender that they were playing against yesterday. By the way, that was Cheshire League shit yesterday. Hojlund's dropped off. No one's even followed him. He controls it and then tries to set it back to no one. And it's like the entire team's like, what the fuck?
No, he just... Well,
so
be honest, like, we're not betting anyone out, but you did hear it. Was it you that heard it, or was it me? That there was a bit of like... Players sometimes
not having him
in game weren't really having Hojlund, so that's why people saying it's a servicing, but not just service. You know, in terms of like build up, like players
seeing him and not passing.
Players on the team are a bit hesitant to play into Hojlund because
but he doesn't show the right. He doesn't show the right body shape to receive.
Because they were seeing it as I know you see it as a black hole. They think if you pass me passing to Hojlund here
means me running back in a minute.
Means me running back to my own goal in 5 seconds. You know what I mean? That's. Because players and teammates, you naturally know who they trust more than others. And if your teammates don't trust you, it's almost like, because the game's so fast, they're thinking...
I can't be asked giving it you.
Can't be asked giving it you shit, bro. Do you know what I mean? You shouldn't obviously think that way, but...
Who have you played with that you think about that?
There's a few players, you know, but no one's going to know where they are. Someone could have followed out about me.
No, I think about you, it'll be more of a case of when they do get the ball, he ain't going to be running back.
Do you know what? I had to change that. Do you know what I mean? I've never been a luxury player. Because even at academy level, I was like, I was decent enough to be an academy player for a long time. Because like it's every year.
Yeah, you didn't just stick around 1 year.
Yeah, you don't stick around every year because they kind of refresh it every year, don't they? But I was still there were still players much better than me because the level was high. But it was one of them where like I almost couldn't get away with not working hard. Do you know what I mean?
Did Akira have to work hard as well, or was he a bit more luxury?
A bit more luxury. He was very highly rated. Do you know what I mean?
Fucking very good player.
Very good player. So it's one of them.
You seen? He spoke to Isaac since his move.
Yeah, he's in Japan now actually.
Yeah, with Nosa in it.
Yeah. Jealous of that.
Is that celebrating the move?
Nah, they've just been on a bucket list. They're like heavy into anime and stuff and Japanese culture. So it's a bucket list tick. But yeah.
So I spoke to him on our last game of the season, and he was saying he'd had the offer from Mac. I think they've been pursuing him for a while, haven't they, Mac?
Yeah. Like Robbie.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be interesting to see how he gets on there, because there'll be some competition for a place, which I think, he went to Curzon, didn't he, and he's absolutely lit it up. I think he's probably really well liked by the Curzon fans as well. I think he'd be well liked by the Mac fans, because he's another one as well. He's an unbelievable player, but he ain't a luxury player.
No, he isn't.
He's an absolute killer.
He isn't. On that though, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the comments here, innit? And there's two people that have said that this is the I Hate Hojlund podcast.
Is it though?
Why does that always happen?
All right.
Do you know what? This is what happens. Is
it hate or is it wrong?
Nah,
right? Is it wrong? That's what you start with. Is it wrong?
It's just extremism all the time. So no nuance. Like Hojlund can go 50 games without scoring. We're talking about a striker that was possibly going to be a replacement for him in Liam Delap, who's not chosen. So we've obviously gone on to the striker that we are going to obviously have to replace. But anytime you criticise players, it's hate. I don't understand. It's really. Mike's right. It's a cop out. It's just saying. What I mean?
Let's get this one here.
Sorry. All right. Hojlund's amazing, bro. World class.
This guy's dropped in two super chats. I think he dropped a super chat in and forgot to comment. So thoughts on where Cobby might play for the gaffer. Love the content. It's always good to watch. Thank you, mate. There was. Cobby's interesting because I think his build suggests the 6, because he's grown into a bit of a unit, hasn't he? He's got like a real back on him now. But the legs on him, I don't know what's happened. The guy needs some footwork in his life. Like, he's got to just do them ladder drills all day long and get some speed about him. Because if he could cover ground, I'd have no question whatsoever about playing Cobby in the 6. I think he's got the range of skill. The only thing I've not seen him hit is switches, regular. I'm sure he's got them in his locker.
And got
I just
range.
don't see them. Yeah, I just don't see them. I'm sure he's got them. I bet if you got him on the pitch and went, "Oh, hit that over there," he'd be like, "Watch this, bosh." But I just don't see it when he plays. But that ability to cover the ground thing, that's the thing that I don't necessarily see with him.
That's just modern football, though, now, isn't it? It's almost like, other than being a footballer, you've got to be a triathlete. Premier League's just like that now, innit? It's just all about speed, stamina, strength. If you don't have at least one of those, you're going to find it tough to be a Premier League footballer, unless you're like top 0.5% technically.
That's a good line.
Yeah.
Hisham says, Cobby should do everything he can to become a Rodri regen. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, Rodri's deceptively speedy, though. He's not slow.
Nah, he's not slow.
But I see what you mean.
It's because people look at Declan Rice, innit? Because Declan Rice
ain't slow either.
No, he's a slow. He's fucking rapid. He's a power runner. Like, he's ground eater.
Yeah, he's not slow.
Do you know what I mean?
Think you can be slow and play that deep no more. I don't know where you can get away with. In fact, where on the pitch can you get away with being slow now?
In net.
Not even.
Unless you're Onana.
You got to get out.
Onana's a bit too slow to dive.
You got to get out. If you're sweeping up outside the box, you got to have a little bit of turn of pace on you to get out there.
As a 10, maybe. Luxury 10. If you're all tech,
you can probably get away with it if you're relentless with it. But yeah.
What about, because for example, someone like Odegaard is touted as a world class player. I'm not quite sure he is. He's really good, but he's not world class. I think he's not quick. But then again, is he not quick in Premier League standards? And also, what usually happens with players is someone like Odegaard, he's not quick, but he's got an engine.
Yeah.
It's like Bruno. Bruno's not quick. He's not exactly slow, but he's not quick. But Bruno can still be running at like 80% of his speed capacity 80 minutes into the game, so that separates you. Because that's always what got mentioned. It reminded me of a guy I used to play with called Ben Grant. He was like the slowest guy on the team, but he's probably the fittest guy I've ever played with. So what would happen is 70 minutes into the game, obviously everyone's not fresh. So when you're sprinting after playing 70 minutes of football, your sprint after 70 minutes in relation to how if you started the game won't be as quick, but it's the same for pretty much everyone that's played. But someone like him,
he closes the gap because
he's still going as quick as he was. So he
gear but a big tank.
All of a sudden he's running past people. Do you know what I mean? After 75 minutes. So, but that's what it is now in modern football. It's just thingy. Yeah, it's called repeated sprint ability. So we actually used to do tests on that. So you wouldn't just do your 40-minute sprint and get timed. You had to do a thing where they set up a 30-meter sprinting.
Oh yeah,
markers,
you did 10 or 12,
and
there's only a percentage drop you're allowed.
Yes,
you can't cheat the first one either.
Yes, you had to do.
That's the blag.
Yeah, it's the blag. So
you kick the first one, so you look better. Onto them fucking tricks.
Yeah, they test it. So you do 10. You'd basically sprint 30 meters, and then when you walk back, as soon as you walk back, you got to go again. I think you got to do like 7 or 8. And they test how.
Yeah, there's a percentage allowable drop off.
Yeah,
it's
how much
like a single digit
how much your speed drops off. Because actually matters. It's really football specific. Because are you still as quick after doing 7 sprints? No,
there's a drop off, but if you've got less of a drop off than the next guy, and it's not as dramatic, you might be quicker on sprint 1 than, let's just say me, for example. I mean, that's definitely the case. But by sprint 12, I might close the gap. And you think, right, okay, over 90 minutes, what good's one sprint to us when we want you doing 15, 20, 25 a game? You got to keep showing and running for the ball, especially now. You got to keep that. You got to be hitting your double movements, trying to shake off defenders, running even when you ain't getting the ball. You got to.
Because that's even like you're talking about Garnacho and you might be leaving. That's probably one of his best traits.
Yeah, because I know someone's going to pull up that he's like been clocked in as the fastest player in the league, I think. But I don't think he's quick.
Has he?
I think so, yeah. But it's always a recovery.
Who's Van der Ven?
Well, I saw one where Garnacho was top of it, but it's always a recovery run. It's always a recovery run. It's not. When you're talking about.
Is that why defenders usually are high up on them charts?
Because they're chasing back from a corner. They get a 70-meter blast at it, so they can really open up. But what's most of the sprints on a football pitch? Between 5 and 12 meters, probably, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just enough to go past the man. That's all you need. Because then you're going to put your foot on the ball again and maybe change direction. Like, you just need that acceleration. You don't need straight. Like, that's why Usain Bolt ain't a footballer. I think he'd be a good centre half.
I think Garnacho's got really good acceleration, but I don't think he's top end quick. I see him get caught quite often.
Yeah, I just don't think he's got the ability to go past the man either. How often do you see him drop a shoulder and send someone?
Because, for example, if you compare Rashford and Garnacho, Rashford would get away, but he'd also then separate or he'd stay ahead of defenders. Garnacho breaks away, but then gets caught up. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know if that's like a power thing or. But sometimes it can be a bit of a facade. Those clock time, because people say Mbumo's not rapid. But I think
see him beating people.
I think he's clocked one of the fastest speeds as well.
But that's the problem with that is it's always like a 40 to 70 meter sprint, and it's always like you're recovering from a corner because that's when you get it.
There are like 3 or 4 seasons Rooney would be like top 3 in the Premier League for speed.
Yeah, and it'd be doing that. It'd be chasing someone back.
Yeah, a bit like a lunatic.
I remember about 2007 or 8, something like that. It was when Ronaldo was still in the Prem, and they put up they did it in miles per hour. This one. And it was the fastest players with and without the ball. Because that changes. Most players were about 0.4, 0.5 mile per hour slower dribbling. Rooney was faster with the ball than without it. If that just doesn't sum Wayne Rooney up, I don't know what does. But yeah, so like Rooney was like 21.8 mile an hour without the ball, 22 mile an hour with the ball.
I think Messi probably has it that way as well. Messi looks like he was quicker with the ball.
Probably was, because he doesn't do anything when he's not got it.
Doesn't do any... well, when you're as good as him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying he should. I'm saying, that he doesn't have to. I'm just saying he doesn't. Lawan says, would Rashi have done a job up top for the gaffer if he wasn't forced out of the club? He's going to ball out if he goes to Barca. I don't know if he's going to ball out. But yeah, I would presume that if they could have got on the pitch, I think he surely would have done better than Hojlund to the end of the season. Surely.
Probably would have. It wouldn't have been difficult to top that anyway.
No,
but you've got something to do, don't you?
Yeah.
Because after it, what we are going to ask before it goes towards the end is we're going to ask the chat what striker they want instead.
Oh, that's a good idea, yeah. Start putting that in. We missed a super chat. Scroll up for us. Did we miss one?
We don't miss super chats here. What do you think I am? Joel Smith?
Not seeing one here. Is that one there? Oh, there you go. Danny says, would I take Vardy as a super sub for a season? Plus, could Rashi still work? Well, we sort of answered the Rashford one. I don't think Rashi's going to get a chance to come back.
No.
Vardy on a free? If there's no other options, yes, but I would rather not.
Nah, because Rooney would stop coming to games.
Okay. Right, let's pay the bills a second. We'll be back right after this. There is an idea that if you are not pushing through your workouts, if you're getting enough sleep, eating right, then you should just feel fine. But sometimes, even if you're doing all of those things, your body isn't keeping up. And that was the case for me. There was tiredness, there was dips in focus, absolute lack of drive, and it didn't make sense. And then I found out that my testosterone levels were low. And actually, I explained everything. The TRT service has changed the game for me. And it wasn't overnight. It took a long time to get the levels right, but I definitely started to feel sharp again. I absolutely had more energy. There was better mood, stronger in the gym, and just more switched on in general. 1 in 4 men suffer from low testosterone, and most do not even know about it. And that's the reason that I'm working with Manual, because it is something that I absolutely use. You make the first step very easy for you. You do not need to second guess your symptoms. You do not need to let them control your life. You can order their at-home testosterone blood testing kit. And it's a quick finger prick, and it is done in minutes. Your results come back low, then you get access to their TRT service. And if it doesn't, well, you're going to have to figure out what else is going on. But if you do, their expert doctors are going to be on hand to help you. If you're over 30, the drop-off starts to happen gradually. You might think it's just life, but it could just be your hormones working against you. So if something feels off for you, and this is it, it's not for everybody, but if something does feel off for you, if you used to run at higher revs and now you don't let pride or habit stop you from sorting yourself out. Go and use my code, Stephen45, and you get 45% off their at-home testosterone blood test. Go to manual.co and take control of it. Honestly, it could be the start of you getting back to feeling like the old you again. So, yeah, cheers for letting us pay the bills. And genuinely, I think it's been great. I've been on TRT for 4 years. I think it's been massively impactful. For me, mental health-wise, for starters. But even just the desire to want to go to the gym, because when my testosterone was off, I just didn't want to go. So yeah, I've been on it for a few years. I'm finding the benefit of it now I've actually lost weight and I'm trying to go to the gym every single day. I don't think that would have been possible without getting my T sorted out. But my levels were low. So I'm not saying you need to be on it. I'm not saying you should get on it. I'm saying go get your levels checked. That's it. That's all I'm saying. And what bad is information. So go check it out. You can get 45% off the test if you click the link in the description. And you'll be amazed how many people's levels are low. So go and have a look and see what you think. I've got another super chat there. Do you want to do that one, Ronnie?
Yes. Yellow bathing suit. Why yellow? It says go sign the highest goal scorer from the championship, Joe Pirro or Borja Sainz. They're still fairly young.
Didn't Dan James have more than them?
Nah, but he's up there. He's up there. But to be fair, I've not tapped in at all to the championship, but that's something I do want to work on because there's absolute gems in there. There's some guy that I follow, I think his name's Luke, that's proper championship into it, and it's good to keep up with accounts like that because you can find out a little bit. Or sometimes I rate it. Sometimes I'll private message him and ask questions. I
like the championship.
And he'll tell me a couple of players. I asked him about Tom Fellows because I think he has 18 assists or something from right wing for West Brom. 21-year-old kid. I said, is he good enough? He said, nah, he's probably lower level Prem. Do you know what I mean? Because still...
So yes, he's good enough then.
Yeah, that's
what we are. I don't know if anyone's checked the league table this week.
Yeah. Retegui's a good shout, But apparently he's linked to Liverpool as well. But Liverpool are obviously going to get Florian Wirtz. I think they're going to be able to sweeten the deal as well with Harvey Elliott. So they're not paying 150.
Should we scare Deji and talk about the Liverpool incident?
What happened?
What do you mean what happened? You not see the guy that drove into all the fans?
I'm not talking about that.
Well, I'm going to talk about it because I think people have asked me to. So obviously, like, I think it's absolutely horrendous, and I in no way condone or what's it. What's blowing my mind is the amount of conspiracy theories that are coming out of it. Have you seen them?
Oh, you mean the right wing ones?
Yeah, well, there's the right wing ones, but there's also like this is a government plan and stuff like that. Do you know what I think it is? I think it's a guy that panicked. That's it. I don't think there's any malice in it whatsoever. I think it's a real shit situation for everyone involved.
There's no malice. There's no malice in him running people. What do you mean?
No, I mean I don't think there's any like dark hand guiding anything here.
Always in conspiracy.
Yeah,
I just want you to.
It's just a guy that's just lost his shit and fucking drove into people. I think it's it's horrendous. Obviously, luckily no one's been killed with it, have they? Just injuries.
Yeah, there's two. I think two people.
That's fortunate because you get hit with a car. That's a game changer.
Yeah, 2 people were in serious condition. One of them was a child as well.
Fucking hell.
It was really, really tough to watch though. Do you know what I mean? When I saw the video.
Yeah, I mean the conspiracy theories have sent my head west. People are like, oh look, this is an ex-police car. This doesn't have an MOT, and just like, oh my god, people are just the angles people have come at it at. And do you see the Britain First guy being like, oh, why are they hiding this from us when it was the Southport one and they couldn't wait to tell us? And you're thinking, oh my God, mate.
Not a brain cell there, innit?
No, honestly, it's been fascinating watching the conspiracy theory angle of it all. And then people have been showing photographs of the snipers on the roof. You're like, yeah. Have you been to any event ever?
That's a parade that big, of course.
Yeah. Like, are you nuts?
Because if there was another lunatic that was going to do something crazy, they've got to be prepared because there's a lot of people in one space and people might see that as an opportunity. Do you know what I mean?
I saw one which was like them snipers shot the guy's engine block and that's why the car stopped, and you're like... For starters, do you know how much clearance the police would need to fire with a crowd that it isn't happening? It is not happening. Just the conspiracy theories have been absolutely bonkers. Verum says, stick to football, lads. Your politics are shite. What's political about what we just said there? That's hilarious.
Is this your first time online or on YouTube or on Twitter anyway? It's like if I was to say Hojlund's, like if we go back to earlier, Hojlund's not scored in 30 games, very, very poor. Why are you hating on Hojlund? It's just extremes anyway.
Verum says, in quotations, right wing. What, are you pretending that the people of the right... Like I screenshot someone was sending them some J Motti. I was like, look at this. All the ones in America were like, it's an Islamist attack, blah, 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 blah. It's the usual suspects. And you're like, what, is that not right wing? That's right wing, mate. So, what? Mental. Glenn says, apparently he followed an ambulance to get in the crowd. Seems he had a plan. No, he didn't know. There's a car literally in front of him in the first video. Like, it's someone's fucked up and not blocked a road off. Why do people attribute malice to where incompetence exists? Because that's usually the crack. Scroll down, give me that super chat a second. Connor says, I think we need a striker with elite movement. Hojlund was shit.
Don't say that. Don't say that. You can't criticise him.
I'm surprised we didn't take a chance on David. Thoughts on Osimhen? Would love him at United. Yeah, he's a massive upgrade. I just don't know if he's in that sort of age, wage profile that I think Ineos need. The one of PP, what name, says we need to send our recruits to South America and the championship start picking. Yeah, do you know what? I would love that. A link up with a team in Brazil. Oh, yes.
Get some youngsters, ballers though.
Kegab says Paddock FC new season starts probably last week in July. Usually is when it is, I think. Jez says surely Jonathan David is better than what we have. Plus he's free, wages and signing on fees, a no brainer. Maybe they've inquired and been pied. I don't know. Paddock more watchable than United. It's true. Var Josie says your comment about right wing was political. So? It's also factual, mate. And I am Rabbit says the conspiracy theories were right about COVID, but they've been wrong about a lot. I mean,
yeah, it was. So, but I've not seen. Do you know what I mean? I feel like we'll end up ending up with like Patrick Schick, because obviously people are saying without Delap we can get Brian and Bumo instead, but we're rivaling Newcastle for him, and I kind of thought there's an opportunity that he could choose Newcastle because they've obviously got Champions League football and they're a little bit better placed at the moment than us. But obviously United have the heritage, the prestige, and also the difference between choosing United and choosing Newcastle is like you don't have to live in Newcastle. Reckon
it's a factor.
That's a factor, isn't it?
It's absolutely a factor, yeah. You know, some Newcastle fans will see their ass about that. I mean, I remember when they saw their ass because I can't remember who told me about
Wait, so are they going to argue that Newcastle's a better city to live in than Manchester?
Probably, yeah. I mean, I've not seen them piping up. They used to quote tweet that one where I did a video last year where I said United had a good window and I don't think they've signed signing Lewis Hall hasn't been good value. I didn't say he wasn't a good player, I just say he's not good value. You had him on loan all season, you paid like 30 million for him, but you didn't play him.
Who, Chelsea?
No, Newcastle.
But he's been good for Newcastle this season, hasn't he?
He has, and he's played, but he wasn't at the time he was signed.
Okay.
He wasn't obviously good value. Mazraoui was good value, and I still think he is good value. Verum says, how was I political? Answer, right wing is political. Steve, right wing is political. So, no, he said right wing for starters.
I didn't bring the topic up. And also, I didn't want to speak about it.
It's also factual. It was people that was right wing that was talking about it.
But anyway, Mike Craman says, Ronnie, living it in, because you know why I didn't want to speak about it? Because it's one of those things where people are so passionate and almost like parasocial when it comes to politics, is that people are just going to twist and misconstrue your words however they see fit. So I just think couldn't be asked speaking about it. But anyway, Mike Craman says, Ronnie, living in Newcastle ain't that bad. I didn't say living in Newcastle wasn't that bad. It was that bad. I just thought Manchester's just better.
Also, are we pretending that people have chosen not to sign for Newcastle because they didn't want to live local to Newcastle? That's happened. And it's also happened about Manchester. People would like Fabregas, for starters. He went to Chelsea when he had the option to come to United because he preferred to live in London. And I'm pretty sure Eden Hazard might have been the same. There's definitely been other people that have chosen not to come to United but did go to London because they preferred to live in London. And we're saying it's not a factor, it's a fucking factor.
It is a factor. It's a big reason why London clubs have a bit of an advantage when it comes to that as well. Manchester's a dump. I've done
one more outgoing, seeing how Amorim got going at Sporting, sold a lot of players, bought a lot who tailor fit his system over well-known names. I just want that. The problem with applying that to Amorim is that suggests that Amorim did all of that recruitment himself and not necessarily that they had a recruitment team that did that recruitment. He can oversee it, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's his work. Yeah. He just gets the product of that, I guess.
Armando Broa is basically suggested by Deji, who's a Chelsea fan, who wants to shop his Deadwood to Manchester United and sabotage. That is why he's recommended it. He thinks I'm not onto him. Hendrick on loan. Interesting.
Wrigley just mentioned there 3-4-1-2 with legs in the middle and switch the front line instead of being a 1 with a 2 but a 2 with a 1. And I actually think that might be a good idea. And it might end up how it ends up working potentially. But I guess if we had Xerxes in the middle and you had Cunha and Mbeumo either side of him, because him coming back and knitting play like that. But I think that. But
Cunha's a come to feet player though as well, and get involved type of guy.
He is, but I think he also gets on the shoulder.
Yeah, he can do both, but he wants touches. Do you know what I mean? And obviously that's the thing.
Not to the Xerxes.
When he was at Wolves, it was the whole I'm the best player by far. Just give me the ball. Sometimes that changes when you go from a big fish in a small pond to a big club.
I think he's going to be a real good signing for us, mate.
There's little risk with Cunha in terms of what you're going to get as a player. I think that's why you pay the big bucks, but it's just about whether he's able to push us on far enough, because he can't do it by himself.
Danny says, Manchester is as easy on the eye as a fistful of powdered glass in your face. Do you know what, though? The thing is, it doesn't matter where you go. There's good and bad areas in literally every single place on earth that you go to. That's the top and bottom of it. Everywhere you go. Like, people want to talk about, I went to Marseille. It was beautiful. There was also some hot as fuck areas as well, where you go, sketchy. And, you know, Paris, oh my God, Paris, yeah, the tourist bits are, but it's also a fucking ghetto all over the place in Paris as well, where it's raw as fuck. London, oh my God, 90% of London is shit.
It is. Yeah,
and you're gonna, if for a footballer, you're gonna pay $5 million to live in what's a pretty normal looking house. Whereas you pay $5 million in somewhere in Alderley Edge, you are living in a
I think usually
palace.
footballers like they sometimes, unless it's long term, they might get a house, but they could also do apartment for a bit. You can get in a really nice apartment.
Yeah, but you're getting your arse handed to you on an apartment in London.
I think you're alright when you're on like 200 bags.
Yeah, you are, but you're still paying through the arse for it compared to up here.
Might as well buy the house anyway, because it's going to be worth a lot more in a few years' time. But yellow bathing suit is another.
And on heart, no lies, do you think Amarin is a guy? Ronnie?
Is this one has to be a yes or no?
Yeah.
From what I'm seeing so far, no. And I hope he can change my mind.
Yeah, no, but I'm not going to sit here and say sack him either. I mean, that's my kind of vibe. Is I'm not going to sit here demanding that he goes, but I also don't know
if he turns up next season and rouses it up with the team.
Wait, Kieran says, why is Paris a ghetto nowadays? Get political. What?
No.
Have you not been Paris? Like, shit, man. Every time I've been to Paris, I've gone, yeah, the touristy parts, obviously pretty great. But there's loads of parts of Paris where you go,
right, reset the chat.
No, we're not doing that? All right, cool.
Yeah.
Anyways, right. I'm a jive. Ronnie, are we done?
Yes, we're done.
Right, cheers for tuning in, everyone. Make sure to subscribe if you're new. Go and check out my Will Still video from earlier if you want to see what's going on. And I'll see you in a bit. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.